My child, I know what you've been through. I know the battles that no one saw. I know the pressure you carried in silence while still managing to show up, serve, love, and stay faithful. I saw the moments where darkness pressed so close that you wondered if you'd make it to the next day. I saw when the attack didn't just come from the outside. It came from inside your mind, your heart, your own sense of value. What the enemy meant to break you wasn't a light strike. It was a targeted assault designed to wear you out, take your voice, steal your identity, and bury you under the weight of survival. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still seeking me, still waiting to hear my voice. And now I tell you this. What hell tried to use to break you, I will use to announce you. This isn't just survival. This isn't just a recovery story. This is redemptive reversal. The very areas where the enemy struck hardest, your peace, your reputation, your clarity, your calling, those are the exact areas where I'm about to move most clearly. What was meant to silence you will be the place I raise your voice. What tried to humiliate you will be the place I crown you with honor. What tried to push you into isolation will be the place I surround you with covenant relationships. What nearly broke you emotionally is now about to introduce you spiritually. You see, while you were fighting to survive, I was forming you. The enemy thought pain would define you, but I was using it to refine you. He thought shame would silence you, but I used it to deepen your humility and strengthen your compassion. He thought fear would paralyze you, but I allowed it to train your discernment, sharpen your prayer life, and ground you in my presence. And now, because you stayed, because you chose me, even when it didn't make sense, heaven is responding. Not with explanation, with activation. I did not ignore your battle. I recorded every moment. Every time you forgave, when you had the right to retaliate. Every time you lifted your head in worship, when your heart was crushed. Every time you showed up, when it would have been easier to disappear. I took note. Heaven took note. And what you sowed in tears, you're about to reap in authority. This next season will not be about defending what you went through. It will be about walking in what I built through it. Let me speak this clearly to you. You're not a product of your pain. You are evidence of my power. And it's time to stop carrying your story like it's still happening. You're not in the same chapter anymore. You've been refined, tested, proven. The fire didn't destroy you. It made you visible in the spirit. Your scars are not signs of failure. They are marks of someone who wrestled and won. The enemy thought he was ending you, but he was helping. Prepare the stage for what I'm about to release. And yes, I will use what was meant for evil. Every conversation meant to destroy your name, I will use to establish your voice. Every betrayal meant to harden your heart, I will use to expand your capacity to love. Every season of silence where people forgot you, I will use to demonstrate that I never did. I don't just give double for your trouble. I give purpose for your process. I don't waste pain. I harvest it. And now I'm about to put on display what I've been growing underneath the surface of what you thought was breaking you. This next part of your journey won't begin with fanfare. It will begin with obedience. I won't announce you through platforms first. I will announce you through fruit. The people around you will begin to notice that something has shifted. Your words will carry more weight. Your presence will carry more peace. Your discernment will deepen. Your prayers will cut through atmosphere. And without striving, without pushing, your life will begin to speak louder than your voice ever could. You are not who you were before the battle. And you're not who the enemy hoped you'd become because of it. You are stronger, softer, clearer, quieter in spirit, but louder in impact. I'm not starting over with you. I'm building on what you thought was the end. And now what was forged in fire is ready for release. This is not the moment to explain yourself. This is the moment to step forward. Not with apology, not with hesitation, not with fear, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that God didn't just keep them alive. He's now calling them forward. Heaven is responding. And what once tried to break you will now be what I use to announce you. Let me speak now to the part of you that kept going but quietly wondered if I still saw you. To the version of yourself that learned how to smile while holding in tears. To the one who encouraged others while your own soul was still healing. I've been watching, not with distance, but with nearness, with deep awareness, with tenderness. I saw when you made decisions that cost you. When you chose integrity over convenience. When you stayed soft in environments that didn't deserve your compassion. When you chose silence over retaliation, not because you lacked words, but because you trusted me to handle it. You never had to shout to be heard in heaven. I've been listening all along. You thought I was silent, but I was forming something deeper in you than words could define. I wasn't ignoring your pain. I was watching how you handled it. How you stewarded seasons of loss. How you navigated delay without cursing me. How you kept showing up for people who stopped showing up for you. You've asked me many times, God, did that matter? And my answer is yes. It all mattered. Nothing has been lost. Nothing has been wasted. Every invisible act of obedience, every unseen battle you overcame, every moment where you stood when you wanted to collapse, it has all been noted. Heaven doesn't just watch what you build. It watches what you survive. And here's what I want you to know now. You didn't just survive. You grew quietly, invisibly, steadily, beneath the surface. You became someone different, someone deeper, someone stronger, someone I can now trust with more. You stopped living for approval and started living for alignment. You stopped chasing validation and started choosing obedience. You stopped waiting for the room to acknowledge you and started walking like you were already sent. And you were that shift didn't happen all at once. It happened in layers. In the stillness, in the lonely places, in the battles only I saw. And I honor that process. Let me tell you what I think about you. Not based on what others have said, not based on what you've done or not done, but based on what I see. You are loyal when it would have been easier to walk away. You are brave in ways you don't give yourself credit for. You are resilient because you keep getting back up even when there's no one cheering you on. You are pure in motive even when others have questioned your heart. You are sensitive but not fragile. You are powerful but not performative. And above all, you are mine, not conditionally, not occasionally, always. You don't have to earn that truth. You just have to receive it. You've tried to prove your readiness. You've tried to justify your value. You've tried to minimize your weight to make others feel comfortable. But I never asked you to prove, justify, or shrink. I asked you to come closer. I asked you to be with me. Because what I want is not just your voice. It's your heart. What I've called you to do in this next season won't come from effort alone. It will come from intimacy. It will come from being deeply rooted in who I say you are, not what the past has tried to name you. You've let too many situations define your reflection. You've internalized rejection as identity. You've looked at who walked away and assumed it was because you lacked something. But let me speak truth into that now. They didn't walk away because you lacked value. They walked because they lacked vision. They couldn't see what I was building. They couldn't recognize the future I placed inside you. And that's okay. They weren't assigned to carry the full journey. I didn't remove them to punish you. I removed them to protect the process, to preserve the weight of what's coming. You've mourned what left, but I want you to celebrate what stayed. You did. You stayed faithful. You stayed open. You stayed planted even in the in-between. Even when you didn't feel strong. Even when it looked like nothing was moving. And now I want you to know it's moving. The atmosphere is shifting. The ground beneath your feet has changed. The delay is breaking. And I want you to be ready. Not just in action, but in identity. Don't carry the old version of yourself into the new room I'm opening. Don't lead with apology when I've already marked you with authority. Don't second-guess your presence when I've already cleared the space for your arrival. You don't need to be louder. You just need to be anchored. Speak when I lead. Move when I nudge. Don't perform. Abide. Stay in communion. Stay in rhythm. Stay close. I'm not going to give you a platform without giving you peace. I'm not going to give you visibility without giving you discernment. I'm not releasing you to prove anything. I'm releasing you to reflect me. So come closer again. Come not to strive, but to rest. Come not to impress, but to be reminded, you are chosen. You are protected. You are appointed. You are covered. And I am not just with you. I am in you working, preparing, releasing, building, restoring. Let this be the moment where your faith stops asking when and starts saying yes. Let your identity rise not from performance but from presence. Let your heart settle in the truth that I've seen everything. I remember everything and I will redeem everything. You were never the victim of the attack. You were the seed hidden beneath it. And now you're starting to grow. Let me speak now to the part of you that still feels bruised. To the part that hasn't caught up to the truth yet. Because I know that even with all I've spoken over you about identity, about promise, about the shift, you still carry traces of pain that haven't fully healed. You've made progress. You've grown in strength. You've stayed the course. But there are moments when the memories return, when the weight creeps back in, and you ask quietly, why did it have to happen that way? You've learned how to endure. You've learned how to push through, but I'm not content with you merely surviving your past. I want to heal you from it. Not so you forget it, but so you remember it differently. The goal is not amnesia. It's transformation. I want you to stop flinching when the subject comes up. I want you to stop silently shutting down when you're reminded of the betrayal, the loss, the disappointment, the moment your heart broke and your voice went quiet. I want to bring healing not just to your circumstance, but to your interpretation of the pain. Let me tell you why it had to happen the way it did. Not because I caused the pain. I didn't. But I permitted certain things because I saw what would be built through them. I saw how pressure would shape your prayer life. I saw how heartbreak would birth depth. I saw how rejection would protect you from rooms you didn't belong in. I saw how every closed door would develop discernment. The enemy came with a plan to destroy you. But I overruled that plan and I used it. Every last detail to form something that couldn't be faked or forged in ease. You are not a mistake and neither is your story. Even the chapters you've tried to hide, even the ones that still feel too heavy to revisit, I've been there through them all. And I didn't stand at a distance. I wept when you wept. I guarded what could have broken you completely. I held your mind when it was unraveling. I stood between you and the darkness when you didn't even know how vulnerable you were. You weren't alone. Not for 1 second. My silence was not absence. It was focus. I was holding things in place. I was aligning future timing. I was strengthening your spirit beneath the weight of the pain. There's a reason you're still standing. There's a reason your faith wasn't completely crushed. It wasn't because you were strong. It's because I was with you. You didn't know it then, but angels were assigned to your life. Warfare was taking place around you. Things were being stopped, rerouted, redirected to protect your assignment. Some of what you called rejection was actually rescue. Some of what hurt you was actually my hand pulling you away before damage could take root. I never overlooked your pain. I was working with it, and I'm still working with it now. But this time, not to break you, but to announce you. What you overcame is now going to be what qualifies your voice. What you endured is going to give weight to your prayers. The healing I'm completing in you is going to be multiplied into others. You're not going to carry your pain as shame. You're going to carry it as a mantle, a testimony, a declaration that God was with me even there. You've said, but it changed me. And you're right. It did, but not the way you think. The pain didn't steal your potential. It purified your priorities. It taught you what really matters. It broke your dependence on applause. It stripped away the need to be understood by everyone. It made your inner world stronger than your surroundings. That's the kind of change that can't be undone. That's the kind of change I can build on. Now I want to finish what we started. Let me into the parts of your story you've managed but haven't surrendered. Let me into the grief you moved past but never processed. Let me into the parts of your identity you reshaped around survival. You don't have to be hard to be strong. You don't have to pretend the pain didn't matter. I know it did. And I will honor it. Not with revenge, but with restoration. Here's what I want you to hear. You are not fragile. You are forged. Forged in fire, refined in silence, strengthened in surrender. You are not delicate. You are durable. Not because you've been untouched by hardship, but because you've been held through it. That's what makes you dangerous to darkness. That's what makes your voice powerful. That's why hell tried to break you early, because it saw what was coming. And it was right to be afraid. But now you're rising. Not as someone pretending the pain never happened, but as someone who now knows why it did. You'll never be the same again. But that's not something to mourn. It's something to celebrate, because you're not going back. You're not shrinking to be palatable. You're not denying your process to make others more comfortable. You are walking into the promise with your head high, your voice steady, and your eyes wide open. They thought the pain would define you. But I've already decided it will announce you. Now that the pain has been reframed and the lies have been exposed for what they are, I want to speak to what's unfolding around you. What's beginning to move, often subtly yet undeniably. You are not just stepping out of hardship. You're stepping into a divine orchestration that's been underway for longer than you know. And the atmosphere around you is starting to respond. The alignment is not random. The shifts are not coincidental. These are the signs that what I promised is not just true. It's now being fulfilled. You may not realize it yet, but you've crossed a threshold in the spirit. The warfare that nearly broke you was also a signal that something was coming alive. You assumed that the attack was a sign of failure, but it was actually the sound of birthing. That intensity, that pressure, that fatigue, it was not the end. It was the final contraction before manifestation. And now you're going to begin noticing things that look small on the surface, but carry my fingerprints all over them. Strategic connections, timely provision, unexplained clarity. These are not accidental. These are markers of promise. The early signs of harvest in fields where you thought nothing was growing. Let me be clear. I don't speak just to encourage. I speak to establish. My promises are not hopeful suggestions. They are declarations backed by heaven's full authority. And what I've declared over your life is entering a window of activation. That means things are going to move, and some of them will move fast. I need you to stay aware. Don't judge the significance of what's coming by how it appears. Some of the greatest breakthroughs begin with what looks ordinary: a text message, a conversation, a divine appointment disguised as a casual interaction. Watch for me in the margins. You've been asking for signs, and now they are going to increase. Not to prove I'm real. You already know that these signs are confirmation. They're meant to strengthen your discernment. You'll start noticing repeated themes, phrases you keep hearing, scriptures that follow you, people bringing up topics you've just prayed about in secret. These are not coincidences. This is me speaking through alignment, telling you, yes, keep going. You're in step with me. I'm also going to begin giving you dreams again. Not every dream will be prophetic in nature, but pay attention to the ones that linger, the ones that wake you up, the ones that stir something deeper. I speak in many ways, and for you, dreams are one of them. Write them down. Ask me for clarity. Don't rush to interpret. Bring them to me. I will reveal what you need to know in the right timing. There are relationships I'm now restoring and others I'm removing. You've asked me for clarity, and this is part of the answer. Some people will fade without conflict. That is me creating space. Don't cling to what I'm cutting. Some will reappear, not to repeat old patterns, but because the timing is finally right. You've both been refined. You're no longer the version of you they once knew. And they are no longer the version you had to protect yourself from. This too is a sign. I'm also bringing resources not to create comfort but to release purpose. You're stepping into a season where what you carry requires support, structure, and strategy. Don't resist the provision. Don't question whether you deserve it. It's not about deserving. It's about assignment. I provide for what I commission. So as I open new doors, expect new streams. Not just financially, but in time, in wisdom, in favor. Your hands will not remain empty. I am filling them so you can build. Do not be surprised if old opportunities resurface, but look at them with new eyes. Just because something is familiar doesn't mean it's your assignment anymore. And just because something looks different doesn't mean it's wrong. You've grown. Your discernment has matured. Trust the peace I give you. Don't ignore it. My peace is your guide. My peace will confirm the direction. If you have to force it, it's not me. If you feel drained before it begins, it's not your door. I'm not just opening doors. I'm opening the right ones. Let me also say this. I haven't forgotten what you prayed for in past seasons. Some of those prayers felt unanswered because the soil wasn't ready, but now I've been tilling ground you didn't even know existed. And what was once dormant is waking up. Prayers you stopped mentioning because they felt too risky to hope for. They're alive again because I never let a sincere prayer fall to the ground. I store them. I water them. And when the time is right, I release them. Not to tease you, but to bless you beyond what you imagined. This will also be a season of deeper revelation. You're not just going to walk through open doors. You're going to understand why certain doors had to stay closed. You're going to see why I blocked some opportunities, why I redirected your steps, why I allowed certain delays. And when it all starts to make sense, gratitude will rise. Not the kind you force, but the kind that erupts from revelation. You'll look back and say, "Now I see it. God, you were there the whole time." So watch the signs. Watch the timing. Watch the movement that comes without striving. I don't need you to manufacture momentum. I need you to recognize my hand and respond in obedience. That's all. The pressure is not on you to make it happen. It's on you to remain in step with me. The signs are not coming. They've already started. Now that you've begun to sense the shift and see the signs, now that you've allowed me to speak truth over your pain and identity, I need to show you how to walk in what I've spoken. Not for a moment, but for the long haul. Because promises require posture and fulfillment requires faith in motion. Not just the faith that believes, but the faith that builds. The kind of faith that is expressed not only in prayer, but in rhythm. You're not just entering a breakthrough season. You're entering a lifestyle of alignment. And for that, you need instruction. Here's where you start. Reorder your days around me. Before anything else, make space for my voice. I don't need a performance. I don't need perfection. I need your attention. I want to be the first voice that shapes your morning, not your phone, not your calendar, not your emotions. Me. Wake up and sit with me. Even if it's 10 minutes. Bring your real thoughts, your concerns, your gratitude, your questions. I'm not asking you to be eloquent. I'm asking you to be present. These moments with me are not small. They are the foundation of everything else. Next, speak the truth I've shown you, even when you don't feel it. That's faith. Begin to declare what I've already said. I am chosen. I am protected. I am aligned. I walk in the plans God has prepared for me. My steps are ordered. My hands are blessed. My heart is steady. My future is unfolding exactly as heaven intended. Don't wait to feel bold to speak like this. Declare until your soul catches up. You're not pretending, you're agreeing. And when you align your words with my word, heaven responds. Obey quickly. When I nudge, move. When I highlight something to release, let it go. When I say it's time to start, don't wait for more confirmations. You've already heard me. The days of overthinking everything are done. Now is the time to trust the voice you've already learned to recognize. You've asked me to lead you. I am. You've asked me to confirm. I have. Now move. Not recklessly, but faithfully. I will meet you in motion. I don't need you to know the full picture. I just need your next step. Watch how you manage your time. What you give your focus to will either build you or burden you. Your schedule reveals your priorities. Begin to make space not only for prayer, but for rest, for planning, for reading, for real community. Stop saying yes to what drains you. Stop giving energy to what no longer fits. Let me reorder your hours so that your days flow in purpose, not in pressure. You've lived in survival long enough. Now it's time to live in structure. And that doesn't mean rigidity. It means rhythm. It means clarity. It means peace. Return to my word daily. Not just for instruction, but for alignment. Let Scripture be your language again. Let it be the mirror you check before stepping into decisions. You don't need a 100 verses a day. You need one that's alive in your spirit. One that reminds you who you are. One that steadies your emotions. One that confronts fear. My word is not a checklist. It's a weapon. It's a lamp. It's your anchor. When winds rise again, start reading with expectation. Ask me to highlight what you need. I will guard your heart and your atmosphere. What you consume matters. What you listen to, scroll past, engage with, it all forms your spiritual environment. I'm not calling you to be legalistic. I'm calling you to be discerning. If it steals your peace, it's not harmless. If it reopens old fear, it's not neutral. Filter everything through this. Is this strengthening my spirit or starving it? Simplify your inputs so my voice grows louder. Manage your relationships with wisdom. Some people will draw from you in this season, not because they're toxic, but because they're hungry. Be generous, but don't burn out. Make room for mutuality. Lean into the connections I've been forming behind the scenes. People who carry what you need and honor what you carry. Community is not optional in this next chapter. You'll build faster, stand stronger, and recover quicker when you're surrounded by the right voices. I've already started bringing them. Look around. Lastly, rest deeply, weekly, intentionally. Rest is not weakness. It is trust. It is how you declare that the world keeps turning even when you step back. That your worth is not tied to constant output. That you trust me to work even while you lie still. Rest is holy. Guard it. Protect it. It will renew your clarity and recharge your joy. You don't need to prove anything in this season. You don't need to hustle for what I've already ordained. Just stay in rhythm. Just keep walking. Just keep showing up with me. Faith is not a sprint. It's not a performance. It's not a wave of inspiration. It's a life of agreement built moment by moment, decision by decision, prayer by prayer. You've already passed the test of pain. Now live in the strength of purpose. You're not waiting for something to happen anymore. You're learning how to carry what's already been released. Now that your faith has begun to move into action and your steps are aligning with my rhythm, it's time to deal with something deeper. Not just how you walk, but how you see yourself as you walk. Because if you try to carry a divine assignment while still wearing an identity shaped by pain, fear, or rejection, you will always hesitate. You'll hold back. You'll second-guess your voice. You'll downplay your worth. And I didn't bring you through everything I brought you through so you could live like you're still trying to earn your place. I've already chosen you. That's settled. But now I want you to choose the version of yourself that I created, not the one you had to become to survive. There is a real version of you that existed before the betrayal. Before the silence, before you were told to be smaller, quieter, easier to manage. You learned how to fit in rooms that couldn't hold your truth. You learned how to adjust your tone so people wouldn't misunderstand your fire. You carried vision and compassion and wisdom in a world that often didn't know what to do with it. And in the process, you started questioning if the way I made you was somehow a mistake. Let me tell you clearly, nothing about you was accidental. Nothing about your wiring, your insight, your instincts, your sensitivity was a flaw. You were designed that way on purpose, for a purpose. The world may have mishandled it, but I never misnamed it. The pressure you felt to conform, to blend in, to be more like others. None of that came from me. I've always been trying to call out the real you, the one who was formed in intimacy with me long before this world tried to label you. You've been functioning for years, doing the work, showing up, enduring. But beneath the strength, there's still a voice that whispers, "Am I really enough?" That's what I want to silence now. Because I don't want you to walk into this next season wearing borrowed armor. I don't want you speaking my words while still unsure if you deserve to carry them. I don't want you building what I've placed in your hands while still wondering if you're just one mistake away from losing it. That's not your story anymore. Let me tell you who you are. You are not the abandoned one. You are not the almost. You are not the overlooked. You are not the version of you that stayed quiet to stay safe. You are my image bearer. You are a vessel of glory. You are a mouthpiece of healing. You are a carrier of presence. You are bold. You are kind. You are sharp in spirit and full of grace. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not unqualified. You are called. And what you've been through isn't disqualifying you. It's distinguishing you. There are lies that have lived in your mind for too long. Lies that snuck in during moments of deep pain. Moments when people left without explanation. Moments when your name was left out of conversations you helped shape. Moments when you were told to calm down, when you were simply carrying clarity. Those experiences created internal agreements that said things like, don't be too loud. Don't ask for more. Don't expect too much. Stay small. Be safe. But I'm breaking those lies now because safety in those terms is slavery. And I didn't rescue you just to contain you. I freed you so you could live. You don't need to apologize anymore. For your presence, for your process, for your strength, for your tears. You're not too much. You're enough in every way that matters. And in the areas where you still feel weak, still feel raw, still feel unfinished, I will fill in the gaps. My grace is not just for your sin. It's for your becoming. Let me meet you in the places where you're still unsure. Let me rewrite the internal narrative that shaped your behavior. You don't need to beg for affirmation. You've already been affirmed by the one whose word settles everything. This is the season where you stop shrinking, not because of pride, but because of truth. You've outgrown old labels. You've outgrown the need for constant validation. You've outgrown pretending not to carry what you do. You don't need to wait until you feel fully ready. You just need to agree with who I say you are. And from that place of agreement, you will find peace. You'll stop over-explaining. You'll stop reacting. You'll stop managing everyone's perception. You'll just walk in love, in power, in wholeness. Let your steps reflect your healing. Let your decisions reflect your worth. Let your relationships reflect your discernment. Let your presence reflect that you've been with me. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to be who I already said you are. They try to define you by your lowest moment. I define you by my highest call. And what tried to break you tried to convince you that you were unworthy, uncalled, unimportant. That very thing is now going to announce your identity. Not because of revenge, because of revelation. You are not going back. You are not regressing. You are not invisible. You are not in limbo. You are walking into purpose, anchored, whole, free. You finally believe what I've known all along. You are always enough. Now that your identity is no longer wrapped in confusion. Now that you've allowed me to call you into alignment with how I see you, it's time to walk forward in a rhythm that will protect, nurture, and sustain what I've placed inside you. You cannot carry the weight of your calling without structure. You cannot maintain the strength of your voice without stillness. You cannot live in revelation without regular return to me. If the enemy couldn't destroy you in chaos, he will now try to distract you in momentum. That's why I'm teaching you to build from presence, not pressure. Let's begin with prayer. Not just the kind that visits me in crisis, but the kind that creates a home in my presence. Daily prayer. Honest prayer. Not long monologues trying to impress me. Just real moments where your soul meets my spirit. Begin your mornings with me. Not as a box to check, but as a space to recalibrate your heart. Before the demands of the day begin to shape your focus, let my voice shape your peace. It might be 5 minutes. It might be 50. I'm not measuring your time. I'm measuring your surrender. I don't want polished language. I want your heart. Bring me your gratitude. Bring me your tension. Bring me your thoughts before they take over. I will meet you there. Throughout your day, keep the conversation going. Prayer doesn't end when you leave the quiet place. It follows you into your decisions, your conversations, your emotions. Ask me questions. Pause and listen. When something feels off, stop and ask me what I'm saying. This is what it means to walk by the Spirit. Not just asking for help when you're overwhelmed, but learning to live in continual awareness that I am always near. Let me speak to your attitude. Because in this season, how you carry yourself matters as much as what you carry. You are no longer living from survival. You are living from security. Let your posture reflect it. Let your words be calm even when the atmosphere is tense. Let your presence speak peace before your mouth opens. You've learned how to respond in storms. Now I'm teaching you how to walk in stillness with the same faith. The miracle is not always in parting seas. Sometimes it's in walking on water without fear. And I want your internal world to be quiet enough that you can hear when I whisper, "Come." Begin your days in gratitude. That's how you train your heart to see me and everything. Thank me for what's still forming. Thank me for what's already left. Thank me for what you don't understand yet. Gratitude is not weakness. It's warfare. It confronts anxiety. It silences entitlement. It opens your eyes to grace in places you'd otherwise miss. Make Thanksgiving a lifestyle. Let it become your reflex. Return to my word, not for knowledge alone, but for alignment. My word is your anchor. It will remind you of what's true when your emotions try to pull you into old patterns. You don't need to consume entire chapters in one sitting. Start with a verse, a phrase. Let it sit with you all day. Let it correct your thinking. Let it restore your perspective. Don't just read Scripture. Let Scripture read you. Come to the Bible with humility. Ask me to show you something fresh. I will. My word is not stale. It is living, breathing, and perfectly timed. If you've fallen out of rhythm with the word, come back without guilt. There's no shame here. Just come. Pick up where you left off. Start in Psalms if you feel weary, in Proverbs if you need wisdom, in the Gospels if you've forgotten how tender Jesus is. I'll meet you wherever you open the page. And I'll begin to rebuild your mind from the inside out. That's how transformation happens. Not through effort, but through exposure to truth. Be mindful of what you let in. Your soul is more sensitive than you realize. What you watch, what you listen to, what you scroll through, it shapes your spirit. I'm not calling you to legalism. I'm calling you to clarity. You can't pray for peace and feed your mind with fear. You can't ask for discernment and surround yourself with distraction. Simplify your inputs so you can hear me clearly. Guard your gates. Your focus is too valuable to be surrendered to noise. Watch your circle. Not everyone is equipped to walk with you in this next stretch. That doesn't mean they're bad. It means your season has changed. I will bring the right voices, the right friends, the right partners. Those who recognize what I've placed in you without trying to control it. You don't have to beg for belonging. You don't have to over-explain yourself anymore. The people I send will see clearly, and I will give you discernment to know who's from me and who's from convenience. Rest weekly, not as a luxury, but as obedience. Your body needs stillness. Your soul needs margin. I created Sabbath for you to remember that it's not all on your shoulders. That I'm the one holding your life together. That I am still working while you sleep. Rest is not a reward. It's a rhythm. It is how I teach you to trust me in the space between your work and my outcomes. When you step back, I step in. So now here's how you walk. Present, peaceful, prayerful, rooted in truth, unshaken by storms, unmoved by pressure, clear in vision, consistent in devotion. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to stay aligned. I've already started the work. These instructions are how you protect it. Let my voice be your compass. Let my presence be your home. Let my word be your foundation. This is how you walk in what tried to break you and announce me instead. Now I speak to you not just as the one who healed your past, but as the God who is calling you into the now. This is not a slow awakening. This is not a delayed arrival. This is a divine shift, and it has already begun. What once pressed against you to destroy you is now being used to create room for expansion. What once drained you is now being removed to make space for alignment. I am not only redeeming what was lost. I am revealing what has been hidden. And this moment, this very stretch of time, is holy. You are standing in the doorway of manifestation. And I am releasing what I preserved for you long before the battle ever began. You have crossed the threshold. What once broke you no longer owns you. What once held you hostage no longer has a voice. I am severing the final ties to the version of you that was shaped by fear, performance, and shame. You are not who you were before the fire, and you're not meant to return to that form. You are walking in a new mantle now, a different weight, a purified assignment, a refined voice. And this version of you is who I'm ready to send. Not to prove something to the world, but to fulfill something for the kingdom. The next season will not be like the last. You will no longer move with uncertainty. You will no longer pray for doors that I never assigned to you. You will stop rehearsing what you're not and start living in who I said you are. Because I'm calling forth what is matured. I'm releasing what you carried in silence. The influence is shifting. The tables are turning. The light is changing direction. And where once you were overlooked, now you will be invited. Where you were underestimated, now you will be honored. Not for who they assumed you were, but for who I have formed in the secret place. This next phase is marked by immediacy, sudden clarity, unexpected provision, swift confirmation. You've waited long enough. And I'm not just rewarding your wait. I'm answering the prayers you forgot you prayed. The ones you whispered when you were too tired to believe. I held every one of those moments close. And now I'm sending the response, not in fragments, but in fullness. Do not be surprised when things move quickly. When what once required your striving now moves with ease. That's not coincidence. That's grace in motion. Expect divine appointments, conversations that unlock strategy, people who carry pieces you didn't know you needed, answers coming through unfamiliar faces, restoration coming from unexpected sources. Your name will be mentioned in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your influence will grow, not because you pushed, but because I breathed on it. And the expansion won't overwhelm you because I've spent years building the internal structure to sustain it. There will also be transitions, assignments shifting, boundaries tightening, relationships recalibrating. Don't resist it. Don't mourn what can't come with you. I'm not taking anything from you. I'm making room for what I'm sending. Your capacity has changed. You've outgrown old dynamics. And it's not rejection, it's refinement. I am pruning, not to reduce your reach, but to increase your fruit. Trust my hand. I see what you can't. I protect what you don't know is vulnerable. Follow my peace. It will never lie. I am not only sending opportunity. I am releasing favor. The kind of favor that bypasses hierarchy, that opens doors beyond your resume, that softens hearts and clears paths. You won't have to compete. You won't have to explain. You won't have to justify. I will go before you. I will speak for you. I will prepare every detail. Just walk. Just respond. Just carry my presence into every space I lead you. And yes, there will be new instructions. Pay attention. I may ask you to step into new things, to pivot where you were once planted, to release what you thought you needed. Don't fear the unfamiliar. That's where the next level of glory lives. The clarity will come, not all at once, but in waves. Listen for my timing, my nudges, my silence. My word will guide you and I will confirm what's from me through peace, alignment, and fruit. Not pressure, fear, or striving. Don't shrink. Don't apologize. Don't edit yourself to be digestible. I've already made room for your fullness, your fire, your authenticity, your insight. It's needed now. You don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need to push to be seen. You carry a frequency that heaven has tuned. And now earth is starting to hear it. They will recognize the anointing, not because of your volume, but because of your substance. They will see you and not understand how you made it through. That's okay. You weren't sustained by talent or strategy. You were sustained by my spirit. And now that spirit is leading you into fulfillment. The waiting was not a waste. It was a womb. And what's being born now is not fragile. It is fortified. You're no longer hiding. You're being revealed. You're no longer hoping. You're now holding. And what tried to break you? It will now introduce you. Now come close. Closer than you've been. Not because I am far, but because I want you to feel the nearness that's always been there, even when you didn't notice. I am not leading you into breakthrough so you can run ahead in your own strength. I'm drawing you into a new level of intimacy because every breakthrough worth sustaining is born in communion. This is the moment where you begin to walk not only with new authority, but with a new sensitivity to my spirit. You've known me as provider. You've known me as protector. But now I want to deepen your awareness of my presence. Not just around you, but within you. My spirit is not an occasional experience. He's not a wind that passes through only when you cry out in desperation. He is in you, constant, steady, faithful. He was there when you felt abandoned. He was there when you had no words. When your tears became prayers, when your silence became worship, when your weariness became surrender, you've walked with me, even unknowingly. And now I want you to live from me. Transformation begins here in the stillness, in the unseen, in the honest moments when you bring me everything, not just your strength. I want your fears, your habits, your doubts, your memories. Let my spirit into the places you still manage on your own. I'm not intimidated by your mess. I'm not impatient with your healing. I'm not asking you to clean it up. I'm asking you to let me in. The parts of you that still carry the echo of old pain. I want to saturate them with my presence until they carry peace. The thought patterns that keep recycling old narratives, I want to rewire them with truth. The emotional triggers that still catch you off guard, I want to disarm them with my love. You've tried to fix yourself. You've tried to hold yourself together. But I never called you to live from self-preservation. I called you to live from my spirit. And where my spirit is, there is not pressure. There is freedom. I'm not leading you with fear. I'm leading you with peace. I'm not forcing you. I'm forming you. Every encounter with me has the power to undo what years of pain built up inside of you. And you are safe here. You are seen here. You are becoming whole. Not because you figured everything out, but because you finally surrendered. This is not about a spiritual high. This is about a lifestyle of presence. A lifestyle that doesn't wait for Sunday or a perfect moment. A rhythm where you wake up aware of me. Where you walk into conversations aware that I'm already there. Where you enter meetings, spaces, decisions with the sense that I'm whispering wisdom in real time. That is how my spirit leads. Not just in crisis, but in rhythm. That's how you're going to build what I've called you to build. Not through striving, but through sensitivity. I'm increasing your spiritual sensitivity. You will begin to feel what's not said. You'll sense when something is off, even before facts confirm it. You'll speak with clarity, not because you rehearsed, but because you listened. You'll discern what's for you and what's a distraction, not based on appearance, but based on alignment. That's my spirit sharpening you, teaching you, maturing you. You'll start to notice you're calmer in conflict. You'll pause when you used to react. You'll forgive more quickly. You'll release offense more easily. You'll start catching lies mid-thought and replacing them with truth before they take root. That's transformation. That's the inner evidence of encounter. Not just feeling me, but being changed by me. That's what my spirit does. He doesn't just comfort, he reconstructs. You'll begin to long for the quiet again. Not because the world slows down, but because you've tasted the difference between being busy and being filled. I'll meet you in the stillness, in the drive to work. In the moments before sleep, in the times when you choose me instead of distraction. And I will not withhold myself. I never have. I'm not hard to reach. I'm waiting to be noticed. And yes, you will walk in power. You will carry my voice. You will speak with weight. But that power won't feel like pressure. It will feel like peace. Because the most powerful people in the kingdom are not the loudest. They are the ones who know how to hear me in the storm and move accordingly. That's who you're becoming. You will no longer live dictated by emotion, but anchored by my presence. You will begin to hear me more clearly in dreams, in impressions, in scripture, in the way peace settles suddenly in a room. I am training your awareness. And as your spirit becomes more attuned, your life will become more stable. Not because nothing shakes you, but because you now know who holds you. Let me also say this, the inner work is as important as the outward calling. You've asked me to open new doors, to bring expansion, to use your life, and I am. But I don't want to build through you while your soul is breaking within you. I want longevity. I want joy. I want peace to be your foundation. And that comes from communion. Deep daily unhurried communion with me. So here is my invitation. Walk closely. Abide deeply. Don't rush the moments with me. Let your strength be rooted in stillness. Let your clarity flow from encounter. Let your leadership be shaped by love, not performance. I'm not just calling you into visibility. I'm calling you into oneness with me. And from that place, there will be no limit to what we build together. They'll ask what changed. You'll say, I didn't try harder. I got closer. And that closeness, that's what transformed everything. Now breathe, my child. Let everything I've spoken settle deep into your spirit. Not just as encouragement, but as a commission. This was not just a message for your moment of weakness. This was me calling you forward, lifting you out, repositioning your heart so it no longer sees itself through the lens of what tried to break it. I came not to soothe a moment of emotion, but to reset your reality. You are not who they said you were. You are not the product of what failed. You are not defined by what left. You are not living in the shadow of what hurt you. You are walking now in the full light of what I preserved in you. Let me remind you again. I never left. Not in the disappointment. Not in the breakdown. Not when the voice in your head screamed that you'd missed it. Not when you wanted to quit. I stayed. I covered. I rebuilt. And now I'm revealing. Everything I've spoken over you is alive. Not someday. Now you are no longer waiting for something to change. You are becoming what I've already called blessed, favored, chosen, and protected. You've crossed over. And no, it won't all feel familiar. You're not supposed to recognize this version of yourself fully yet. That's because I've done a new thing. The old won't explain the new. You'll have to stop asking for permission to grow. Stop seeking validation from places that no longer speak your language. Walk forward. Speak clearly. Stand firm. Because the weight you now carry is not heavy. It's holy. And I will sustain you. This next chapter won't be about proving anything to anyone. It will be about walking with me in the fulfillment of everything you carried in secret. And when they see you, they will ask what changed. You'll say, nothing but God. You'll say, I died to who I was trying to be, and I let God raise up the version of me that was always anointed to carry this. Because that's what this has been, resurrection. The kind no one claps for until they see the fruit. But you and I, we know the cost and we know the oil. So now I ask you to respond. Not for attention, not for affirmation, for alignment. Say it back to me. Write it, speak it, declare it. Let me see your heart. You don't have to explain everything. You don't have to be eloquent. You just have to be honest. Let your response be your yes. Let it be your marker. Let it be your way of saying, I know you're speaking to me and I'm not going back. If you felt the weight of this word, don't walk away quietly. Leave a comment. Let it be your altar. Let it be your declaration. Let it be your prophetic response. I see you. I hear you. And what tried to break you is about to announce you. Amen.